On September 8, you felt that sudden sadness for a reason. Archangel Michael traced it to a curse sent by someone in your circle. You can still break it, but you have less than 2 minutes. September 8 was not just another date on the calendar. It was not random. It was not ordinary. In the heavenly realms, that day was marked, circled, sealed, and watched. There are days when the veil between the natural and spiritual world thins, and this was one of them. For many, it passed unnoticed. But for you, something shifted. Something dropped into your spirit like a sudden weight. That heaviness you felt was not your imagination. It was not just a bad mood. It was not hormonal, habitual, or emotional. It was a signal, a divine alert from heaven. That sadness you felt on September 8 was the first tremor of a spiritual attack. It did not arrive by accident. It was permitted, allowed, and exposed for a reason. Archangel Michael, heaven's appointed warrior and protector, was dispatched in that very hour, not to destroy you, but to trace the source of the storm. And he did. The sadness was a signature, the residue of a curse spoken, but not by an enemy far off. No, this came from within your circle. Someone close. Someone with access. Someone with jealousy veiled in kindness. But heaven did not sleep. This message is not for the casual listener. Not for the one scrolling quickly past. It is for the one who felt the weight. You know who you are. You didn't just feel off. You felt a pull into silence, a strange heaviness that made no sense. You couldn't explain it, but you felt it in your bones. That's how heaven marked you. That's how the curse was revealed. But listen carefully now. You still have less than 2 minutes. The curse is not yet fully activated, but it is almost sealed. Time is your mercy. Stillness is your weapon. And obedience is your rescue. Do not ignore this moment. Your silence now will speak louder than 1,000 screams. And your stillness will unlock what your striving could never accomplish. Type "I received this warning" in the comments if you felt the shift on September 8. Blessing code 888 has now been released over your life. I, Michael, the Archangel of the Most High, am dispatched with fire in my wings and a sword drawn from the courts of divine justice. I speak not from man's realm, but from the chamber of heaven's council. This message has found you, because the spiritual gate was torn open on September 8. On that day, heaven called your name. On that day, darkness tried to hide its intentions behind a sudden cloud of sadness. And on that day, I was assigned to trace the origin of your unrest, not to terrify you, but to deliver you. Child of destiny, you are under divine surveillance. There are words that were spoken behind closed doors, whispers carried by envy, tones tainted by manipulation. The curse did not come from a stranger. No, it came from someone close enough to speak your name and smile while doing it. Someone with access. Someone permitted into your emotional sanctuary. But fear not. Heaven traced the scent of deception. And I have come, not to reveal every face now, but to sound the trumpet. The window to break this curse is closing quickly. The sadness you felt, that was not random. That was a divine interruption, a prophetic disruption of your emotional peace so that you would stop, feel, and notice. That heaviness was not the enemy winning. It was heaven intervening. That sudden drop in your spirit was not defeat, it was detection. I, Michael, traced the movement. I followed the cords of darkness until I reached the hand that sent it. And I report this truth to you now. It was not an outside attack. It was a proximity strike. This message is not for everyone. This is not for the casual scroller or the numb-hearted skeptic. This is not for those who laugh at spiritual things or mock what they cannot explain. No. This is for you, the one who woke up on September 8 with a grief that couldn't be named. For the one who walked through the day but felt as if something was walking behind them. For the one who felt eyes watching, but no one near. You weren't wrong. You weren't imagining it. Heaven felt it with you. The curse was launched, but it has not yet landed. You still have less than 2 minutes. The alarm is sounding in your spirit because you are down to seconds now. Not to panic, but to position yourself. Do not retaliate. Do not post. Do not vent. Stand still. Let me war. The battle is already in progress, and your silence is your safest position. This isn't about being strong. It's about being still. And you may ask, why me? Because you were marked long ago for a mantle many around you do not understand. You carry what others covet. You hold what others desire, but were never designed to steward. That's why you felt the shift. That's why you felt the storm. That's why you're feeling this message press upon your spirit even now. You are the one. And heaven is issuing your escape clause right now, but the door is almost closed. Do not speak unless commanded. Do not fight unless instructed. Stillness is your strategy. Obedience is your deliverance. You are not helpless. You are simply held in divine timing. The next move belongs to heaven. Type I am anointed in the comments if you know this message is for you. Blessing code 1122 is now activated over your household. On September 8, the sadness didn't announce itself with thunder or lightning. It slipped in like a whisper, but it settled like a weight. You felt it, deep in the marrow of your soul, and you couldn't explain it. A pressure that wrapped itself around your chest, a heaviness that clouded your thoughts. It wasn't depression. It wasn't fatigue. It was an emotional tremor from the spirit realm, and it landed exactly where the enemy wanted it to, your heart. But now heaven speaks. That weight wasn't natural. It was spiritual sabotage. You may not have heard the words spoken, but in the realm of the unseen, someone familiar whispered against you. Someone who knew your name, who once clapped for you, who now resents your light. They didn't curse you with rituals or flames. They cursed you with words cloaked in concern, gossip masked as care, smiles laced with silent sabotage. And in the spirit, their voice summoned a shadow. That shadow became a silence. And that silence, it wrapped itself around your joy like a snake tightening its coils. That is why your sleep changed. That is why you woke up feeling followed. That is why your spirit began searching without knowing what it was looking for. It was never about who you could see. It was about who was hiding. You've smiled in the face of the one who cast this. You've dined at the same table. You've prayed beside them. You've confided in them. And that is what made the sadness so unexplainable. Your spirit knew what your mind could not yet detect. The pain wasn't just emotional. It was prophetic. It was your spirit being disrupted by unholy access, by someone who walked through a door you left open. The enemy didn't sneak in, they were let in. But don't be deceived. Heaven allowed the sadness not to harm you, but to warn you. It was never meant to break you. It was meant to alert you. because you were too trusting, too kind, too open with too many. And now, the result is this: emotional unrest, confusion without cause, a sense of being watched when you are alone, a strange fatigue that no sleep can cure. They whispered about you, but not in truth. They said your name without reverence. They questioned your worth in conversations you were never invited to. They made light of your pain, mocked your calling, and smiled at your weakness. Not because you're weak, but because they fear your strength. They do not want you to see who you really are. They do not want you to wake up and realize what you carry. Because if you did, their influence would end. That is why the sadness came. But heaven did not leave you unguarded. I, Archangel Michael, have heard every lie. I have seen every glance. And I have stood beside you when your spirit broke, but your face kept smiling. This is not just emotional warfare. It is spiritual assassination. But your tears were not wasted. Every cry was recorded. Every sigh was sealed. And now, justice is moving. The curse sent against you has been identified. The source has been marked. The damage has been measured. And deliverance is already in motion. But I must say this clearly: this sadness was the seed of a battle you didn't choose, but were chosen to win. Your response now determines everything. Do not fear what you feel. Do not second-guess your discernment. You were right. Something shifted. Something broke. And heaven is not silent about it. Type "I break the curse" in the comments if your spirit recognizes this moment. Blessing code 444 is covering you now. Beloved, if this message is awakening something in you, if you felt the weight and now hear heaven's voice cutting through it, this is your moment to act. Not just for yourself, but for others. Every time you support this mission through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you're not giving to a voice. You're sowing into a movement. You're helping the light of God reach souls who are silently suffering under spiritual attacks like the one we just exposed. The enemy tried to silence this truth, but through your support, we speak louder. As it is written, those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. Proverbs 11:25. This is that moment. I feel it, and you do too. If you're led, sow into this prophetic moment. There's a PayPal link in the video description for those who feel called to give. Your gift is not just a donation. It's a declaration. It says, the curse ends here. Blessing is being released over every supporter. The oil flows where honor is given. Step into your prophetic act. Move now. Give boldly. Speak life. And type "I am a kingdom funder" in the comments. Heaven sees it. And so does your future. This is not just emotional warfare. This is not just coincidence. This is not just a bad week. This is a spiritual test. And heaven has permitted it to reveal what has been hiding in plain sight. What happened on September 8 was not the beginning of something new. It was the unmasking of something ancient. The sadness, the heaviness, the unexplained tension in your soul, these were not random emotional waves. They were reverberations from a curse that was quietly set in motion long before you knew how deeply you were being watched. You see, those who walk in destiny do not get to walk in peace without warfare. And you, child of fire, have been targeted because of your calling. The weight you felt was not an accident. It was an indicator of your anointing. You're not just being attacked. You're being tested in silence. And the test is not about your power. It's about your posture. The heavens are watching, not to see how loud you shout, but how still you can stand. This is not the moment for chaos. This is the moment for consecration. Yes, the curse was launched by someone near. And yes, their words carried venom. But do not make the mistake of focusing on their face. Do not become obsessed with identifying the vessel, because this is not about them. This is about you. The enemy doesn't waste time cursing what has no consequence. If you were ordinary, you'd be overlooked. If you were insignificant, you'd be ignored. But you are not. You are marked. You are chosen. You are wrapped in the fragrance of destiny, and the enemy can smell it. That is why the sadness was sudden. That is why the silence felt loud. That is why the tension didn't go away with a nap, a meal, or a distraction. It lingered because the spirit realm was waiting for your response. Heaven is watching how you handle this moment. Do you fight back with flesh? Do you lash out with emotion? Or do you stand still and trust the divine warfare that is already being waged on your behalf? Archangel Michael has not come to comfort you with soft words. I have come with clarity, with warning, and with a heavenly strategy. The sadness was the smoke. The curse was the fire. But your obedience is the water. You must understand, this is not a natural battle, and you cannot win it with natural means. No post, no confrontation, no argument will break what was spoken in shadows. You must choose silence. You must choose stillness. You must choose prayer. Not because you're afraid, but because you're wise enough to know the battlefield is not here. It's there. And I am already on it. Heaven is not asking for your strength. Heaven is demanding your submission. You must surrender your need to respond. You must resist the urge to retaliate. Because every time you restrain your tongue, you win in the unseen. Every time you choose peace over provocation, you open portals of divine intervention. This is a divine transaction. Your silence is currency. Your restraint is worship. Your obedience is the legal access point for heaven's justice to move on your behalf. The spiritual realm is watching. The heavens are aligned. The angels are ready. But they cannot act unless you stand in position. This conflict is not a punishment. It is a portal. And what comes through it will not be defeat, but divine reversal. But you must pass the test. Let your stillness shout louder than your anger. Let your quietness thunder in the halls of your accuser. Because when you are silent, I fight louder. Type "I will be still" in the comments if you are standing in obedience. Blessing code 555 is now in effect over your life and legacy. Hear me now, for the hour is later than you think. The curse is not broken yet. Lo, heaven has revealed it, though I, Archangel Michael, have traced its source and declared its exposure. It is still active. The embers are still burning beneath the surface. The clock is still ticking, and you still have less than 2 minutes in the spirit. What was sent against you has not been fully uprooted, because the final moment of choice still belongs to you. You are standing at the threshold where deliverance either activates or delays. Do you feel the pressure rising? Do you feel the confrontation swelling in your atmosphere? That is not paranoia. That is not overthinking. That is spiritual build-up, and it is reaching its climax. The enemy is growing restless, desperate, and bold. The curse they sent was meant to stay hidden, operating in silence. But now that it has been uncovered, the spirit behind it is growing violent. Make no mistake, the person who released this darkness may smile in your face. They may offer compliments. They may pretend they've forgotten the things they said in secret. But the spirit they agreed with is not forgotten. The demonic assignment attached to their words has not retreated. In fact, it is circling, looking for weakness, listening for confession, waiting for permission. You may have sensed faces. You may have seen them in dreams, felt names rise in your spirit, even caught strange glimpses of their behavior. But heaven says, do not confront the face. For the face is only the surface. It is the visible part of a deeper root system. The curse was planted with intent, watered with resentment, and hidden beneath false closeness. And the Spirit of God says, you sense the faces, but heaven sees the root. And the root is where I am striking. There is no safety in speculation. There is no victory in argument. This is not the time to go investigating with your emotions. This is the time to lean fully into divine intervention, because the spiritual atmosphere around you is swirling. The warfare has intensified. Even now, forces are being drawn to you, not just by your presence, but by your prophetic potential. The enemy can sense you are about to break into something new. The curse was sent to delay your next level, to stop your divine movement, to shut down your clarity. And if you are not anchored in obedience, it may succeed. I do not say this to scare you. I say this to position you. You have less than 2 minutes. This is your spiritual countdown. Not to destruction, but to decision. Will you stay still? Will you remain hidden in prayer? Will you resist the pull to respond in your flesh? Because the next words out of your mouth matter. The next post you make matters. The next conversation you entertain carries spiritual consequence. The curse is still active, but so is heaven. There is a war happening over your name right now. And if you could see it, you would drop everything and fall on your face. Because it's that serious. What you thought was emotional chaos was actually the sound of swords clashing in the unseen. You were feeling the tremors of a war you never asked for, but were born to win. But remember this, heaven never sends a warning without preparing a way of escape. Your obedience is that way. Your stillness is your safety. Your silence is your sword. Do not miss this moment. The last seconds are ticking away, but mercy is still within reach. Heaven is not finished. But you must make the right move, or make none at all. Type "I choose obedience" in the comments if you know this message is for you. Blessing code 1717 is now moving through your bloodline. Be still now. Still your thoughts. Still your tongue. Still your urge to defend yourself, to expose them, to fight what you cannot yet fully see. This is your divine instruction, delivered not in suggestion, but in supernatural command. Be silent. Let Archangel Michael war on your behalf. Do not lift your voice, lift your faith. Do not raise your hand, raise your obedience. Because the war that found you was never yours to fight with flesh. It was always heaven's to win by spirit. This is the moment where your restraint becomes your rescue. Withdraw now from the noise. Walk away from the provocation. Do not respond to the accusation. Do not try to explain yourself to those who never had ears to hear you anyway. This is the hour of holy invisibility. You are being hidden, not ignored. You are being cloaked, not forgotten. And I tell you, as a messenger of the Most High, the protection you need will be found in your quietness. You must learn the strategy of stillness, the power of prayerful retreat, the glory of sacred silence. Because in this battle, your silence becomes your shield. Every time you choose to say nothing, the enemy loses access. Every time you refuse to retaliate, heaven builds a hedge higher. Every time you drop your pride and pick up your peace, you place your entire life under the wings of angelic protection. Hear this clearly. Your silence is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is not surrender. It is surrender to God. And when you surrender to God, He fights in ways you never could. Let them talk. Let them whisper. Let them lie. Let them gather. Because I, Michael, have already drawn my sword. I have already been dispatched into the spaces where your name was polluted. I have already entered the rooms where the curses were constructed. I am severing ties, destroying altars, and tearing down every spiritual contract spoken against you. But you must not interfere. Any word you speak in the flesh now would open doors you don't see. Doors the enemy is waiting to walk through. And I warn you with all urgency, if you try to fight this your way, you will delay what heaven was already preparing to deliver. You do not need to answer their call. You do not need to defend your truth. Because God's decree is louder than their slander. And when heaven speaks, every curse breaks. Let me speak protection over you now. Let me declare what they cannot revoke. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. No tongue risen against you shall remain. No curse cast against your name shall stand. No darkness sent toward your future shall succeed. The Lord Himself surrounds you like a wall of fire. The angels are encamped round about you. And the blood of Jesus, the eternal covering, marks you as untouchable by the hand of the enemy. You don't need to fight for what God already called finished. The verdict has been written. The judgment has been issued. And the warrior has already been won, but only if you stay silent long enough to let heaven finish it. Be quiet. Be still. Be at peace. Because even when you say nothing, the Spirit speaks everything. Type "I choose stillness" in the comments if you are walking in divine protection. Blessing code 2323 is now encircling your mind, your name, and your next season. Now rise. Not with noise, not with haste, but with awareness, for the one who was attacked is not the same one standing now. You are no longer the person they cursed. You are no longer weak, no longer blind, no longer wandering through the fog of deception. Something changed in you the moment you heard heaven's voice through your sadness. Something awakened in your spirit when the darkness tried to cloud your joy. What was meant to crush you has actually marked the beginning of your awakening. You are rising. Not because you fought, but because you surrendered. Not because you retaliated, but because you trusted. The very act of your stillness, your refusal to react, has stirred heaven's favor. The sadness you felt, the heaviness that pressed against your soul, was never the end of you. It was the birthing pain of a transformation. You are not cursed. You are called. You are not broken. You are becoming. And this spiritual battle has done one thing the enemy never intended. It has awakened the fire within you. Let me speak this plainly. The ashes the enemy thought would cover your name are now becoming the very soil for your elevation. What they spoke against you will not become your prison. It will become your platform. You will rise from this, not just healed, but anointed. Not just delivered, but dangerous to darkness. You will walk with the weight of new wisdom, with the clarity of discernment, and with the oil of the overcomer. You are stepping into authority, and the realm of darkness knows it. That is why the attack was sudden. That is why the sadness was sharp. That is why it came through someone you trusted. Because the goal wasn't just to wound you, it was to confuse your identity. But now, the veil has lifted. You see the truth. You see yourself. And you are rising in power. Let the fire speak now. Not the fire of rage, but the fire of transformation. The same fire that refines gold is the fire you have walked through. The same flame that destroys also purifies. You are not consumed. You are refined. And what is coming from this trial is not just survival. It is supernatural strength. Your tears have watered the ground. Your silence has been a seed. Your pain has been the pressing, and now the oil is beginning to flow. Wings are forming where you once had wounds. Flight is emerging where you once had fear. And the chains that tried to hold your soul in place are breaking, not by force, but by fire. The sadness was a signal. The battle was a threshold. And now, you stand on the other side of it, not broken, but rebuilt. Not begging, but becoming. Let this be known. You are no longer the version of yourself they once manipulated. That person has been buried. What is rising now is warrior, worshiper, and weapon all in one. They will not recognize you. They will not know how to access you. Because you have ascended into a spiritual place they were never permitted to follow. This is your spiritual metamorphosis. And nothing they spoke, nothing they did, and nothing they sent can touch what heaven has now breathed into existence. Your pain has become your power. Type "I am rising" in the comments if you feel this transformation happening now. Blessing code 707 is igniting your spirit for what's next. Let the veil be torn now. Let the truth descend like lightning. You didn't feel that sudden sadness on September 8 because you were weak. You felt it because you were seen. Not by man, but by heaven. That sorrow was not your downfall. It was your marking. The curse that was sent against you was not birthed from ordinary hatred. No. It was triggered by spiritual recognition. The kingdom of darkness saw what was coming before you did. They saw the shift. They saw the glow. They saw the favor rising around your name, and they panicked. You've wondered, why now? You've asked, why me? And heaven replies, because your name was whispered in heaven's courtroom. Because your file was opened in the realm of angels. Because you are standing on the edge of elevation, and the enemy caught wind of it. This curse, this attack, this sadness, it was not your punishment. It was your proof. Proof that your promotion was scheduled. Proof that your next level was authorized. Proof that your name has been written on a divine scroll, marked for increase, marked for impact, marked for inheritance. The enemy tried to trick you into thinking that what you were feeling was confusion, when really it was consecration. They tried to make you believe you were under judgment, when you were actually under spiritual alignment. What you called emotional disruption was actually the vibration of a door opening in the unseen. And the sadness. It wasn't weakness. It was your sensitivity to the shift. I, Michael, come bearing testimony. Your spirit was responding to spiritual warfare because something was about to be released over your life. You are on the edge of something the enemy could not stop, only delay. You are being ushered into a new mantle. And the reason they cursed you, the reason they whispered your name with malice, was because they could feel the oil that was about to flow from your life. Do not misunderstand the warfare. This is not punishment. This is preparation. This is not decline. This is divine acceleration. The sadness was never sent to end you. It was sent to awaken you. Your cry was confirmation. Your heaviness was spiritual evidence that the heavens were closer than ever before. You have been noticed, not for your failures, but for your faithfulness. You have been watched, not because of your struggles, but because of your strength under pressure. Heaven saw what no one else saw, the prayers you didn't post, the tears you didn't share, the moments you chose worship over worry. And now, heaven responds. Let it be known, this curse was triggered because you were ascending. The enemy launched it in hopes that you'd self-destruct, that you'd speak death over yourself, that you'd question your value. But instead, you waited. You listened. You obey. And now, the reward is being released. The sadness was a sign. The sorrow was a signal. But the glory that follows is the promise. And this promise is not for everyone, only for those who endured the storm without bowing to the bitterness. Only for those who stayed silent long enough to hear heaven's voice break through the noise. You were tested, and you passed. You were targeted, and you survived. You were tried, and now you are being transformed. Type "I was marked for promotion" in the comments if this word speaks directly to your season. Blessing Code 3131 is falling over you like prophetic rain. If this prophetic message has ignited something deep within your spirit, if you feel the weight of heaven confirming what your soul already suspected, then hear me clearly. This is your moment to sow into what's speaking to you. Every time you support this channel through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you're not just giving, you're aligning. You're helping the Word of God reach souls who are lost in silence, just like you once were. When you give, you're watering the very ground where other deliverances will grow. As heaven declared in Malachi 3:10, "See if I will not open the floodgates of heaven and pour out so much blessing that there will not be room enough to store it." That blessing is connected to obedience, even in giving. This is a prophetic act, not a payment. Seed, not a suggestion. If you feel led, the PayPal link is in the description below. Give into the ground that's feeding your faith and watch the oil flow back into your life. Type "I am a kingdom funder" in the comments. Your gift is heard in heaven, and favor is moving toward you now. Heaven is waiting, not for a better version of you, not for a more perfect you, not for a future version shaped by time, but for this moment, right now, shaped by obedience. The sadness you felt on September 8 was never meant to bury you. It was the announcement that your destiny had been called to the front. And now, all of heaven watches as your name is called again, not in sorrow but in summoning. This is your divine activation. The moment where everything you've walked through, everything you've cried through, everything you've survived becomes the platform for the power you are about to walk in. You are being summoned by the Spirit of God to come out of silence and step into alignment. Not with opinions, not with fear, not with your past, but with your assignment. Heaven has seen your hesitation. God has heard your quiet maybe later. The angels have recorded every time you talked yourself out of greatness. But now, the delay is over. The season of shrinking is over. The time of questioning is over. You have survived too much to stay hidden one moment longer. You have endured the curse, walked through the sadness, stood under the pressure, and now you are being called into activation. This is not a request. This is a command from the throne room. Speak. Pray. Declare. Heaven is listening, but it cannot move unless your voice rises. You must say yes. Your breakthrough is not waiting on time. It's waiting on your response. The angels are positioned, the blessing is ready, the scroll is open, but the question remains, will you rise into it? Because hear this clearly, destiny is voice activated. You must open your mouth. You must speak what heaven has said about you. No longer can you echo what the curse tried to convince you of. You are not forgotten. You are not too late. You are not too wounded. You are not unworthy. You are called, you are chosen, and you are anointed for impact. The ones who tried to bind your voice in fear, they knew the danger of your declaration. The curse was not to stop your life. It was to stop your language. Because language is life. Words shape realms. And right now, your voice is the key that will unlock what's been delayed. So rise. Speak over your mind. Speak over your household. Speak over your future. Speak as one who carries heaven's decree. Heaven waits for your yes. Not a whisper of fear, but a thunderous agreement. You must declare, even if your hands still shake. You must rise, even if your feet still tremble. Because this is not about your strength, it's about your surrender. When you step forward in faith, heaven steps behind you in force. You are no longer the broken one. You are no longer the silenced one. You are no longer the uncertain one. Your identity has been revealed through fire, and now your destiny is being commanded to unfold. Declare it now. Decree it now. Align your mouth with the voice of God. The same God who said, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." That same voice is speaking over you right now. Rise. Type ISAYYES to Destiny in the comments if your voice is unlocking what the curse tried to silence. Blessing code 818 is now moving through your atmosphere. There is a transaction unfolding right now. Silent, sacred, and unseen. You may not feel it with your hands, but your spirit has already begun to sense the movement. Heaven is conducting an exchange on your behalf, and Archangel Michael stands in the middle of it. While others see stillness, heaven sees strategy. While others hear silence, the spirit realm hears a roar of angelic warfare. Let this be known to you now. What was stolen is being returned. Quietly. Swiftly. Righteously. Not through argument. Not through revenge, but through divine recompense. There are things the curse tried to claim. Your clarity, your relationships, your peace of mind. But God has intercepted every spiritual wire and reversed every demonic current. The sadness you felt was the first indicator that something had been taken, but your silence became the agreement that something had to be returned. Right now, in the courts of heaven, scrolls are being read. Accusations are being weighed. And I, Michael, stand armed, not with emotion, but with evidence. Evidence of your prayers. Evidence of your worship when no one was watching. Evidence of your restraint when retaliation was tempting. Heaven is not responding to pity. Heaven is responding to your obedience. Your name is on the case. And justice has already begun to move. You may not have seen the hand that wrote the curse, but heaven has. And more importantly, heaven has erased it. You may not have heard the conversation that initiated your sorrow, but heaven has silenced it. Not every victory requires your awareness. Some victories are secured in silence, without your hands, without your interference, and without your understanding. While you sleep, heaven speaks. While you weep, heaven records. Every moment you felt unseen, every tear that felt unnoticed, every sigh in the middle of the night, they were not ignored. They were recorded in a divine archive. The sadness was not the absence of God's voice, it was the weight of His presence pressing in. The person who cursed you didn't know they were unlocking a new level in your life. They didn't realize that the moment they spoke against you, they triggered a silent war they could never win. Because what they didn't know is that you were sealed, covered, anointed, and under the watch of a God who sees in secret and rewards in the open. What was hidden is being uncovered, not to shame, but to shift. What was lost is being recovered, not with noise, but with supernatural speed. What was broken is being restored, not with human effort, but by divine decree. And this exchange, this holy transaction, is happening right now in the Spirit. Even now, I see mantles being lifted. I see stolen peace being reinstated. I see dreams that were suffocated by sadness coming alive again. I see the sadness being pulled off like a heavy garment. And I see heaven dressing you with strength, with clarity, and with authority. This is your moment to trust that what you cannot see is being handled by the God who sees everything. The enemy tried to move in silence, but heaven reclaimed the silence for its own glory. Let your stillness continue. Let your faith rise. The exchange is happening whether you feel it or not. And when you wake, you will wake to evidence. Type "I receive the exchange" in the comments if you know heaven is reversing what was done in secret. Blessing code 929 is surrounding your atmosphere now. It is written in the eternal records of heaven, "Vengeance is mine, says the Lord. I will repay." And now, beloved, that repayment has begun. The scales are shifting. The balance is being restored. Justice is not coming. Justice is already moving. While they spoke in secret, heaven listened in silence. While they cursed in whispers, heaven recorded in truth. And now, the God who rules with righteousness has activated a divine reversal, one that no man can block, and no demon can delay. What they sent to destroy you is now returning to them tenfold. The same weight of confusion they tried to tie around your neck is being loosed and wrapped around theirs. The anxiety they prayed would overtake you is now being sent back like a boomerang in the Spirit. Not because you wished it, not because you cursed them, but because heaven enforces justice even when you remain silent. The Word of God is not a suggestion. It is a spiritual law. They spoke against you without cause. They undermined you with intent. And though they smiled, though they pretended to walk beside you, their hearts were full of poison. But heaven never misses a word. Not one syllable. Not one thought. Not one false agreement made in darkness escaped the attention of the Almighty. And now, what was done in secret is being judged in the open, but not with drama, with divine order. You must understand, This was never just about you. This was about the mantle you carry, the blessing you walk in, the generational breakthrough tied to your name. You carry what others can. You hold what others envy. And that is why they came for you. But what they meant for evil, God is flipping for good. He is reversing the direction of the curse and transforming it into a platform for your promotion. You are about to be publicly vindicated. Not by proving yourself, not by defending your name, but by the fruit of your life speaking louder than their lies. You will not have to beg for clarity. God is releasing a season where your harvest will answer every rumor. Your increase will silence every accuser. Your favor will fight back. And I, Archangel Michael, declare to you now, the court of heaven has ruled in your favor. The verdict is sealed. The curse has been canceled. The attack has been exposed. And the weapon they formed has turned in their hands. Do not rejoice in their downfall, but rejoice in your deliverance. Because the Lord your God is not just a healer, He is a judge, and His judgment is perfect. Your life will now reflect the reversal. Where there was sorrow, joy will flood. Where there was silence, clarity will speak. Where there was stagnation, supernatural speed will break forth. You are stepping into a realm of divine payback. Heaven is not just healing what was stolen, it is multiplying what was delayed. You will not just recover, you will rule. Let it be recorded. Justice is no longer pending. It is present. It is precise. And it is prophetic. Type "Justice is mine" in the comments if you know this reversal is for you. Blessing code 4141 has been released upon your path. Now let the final word be spoken over you, not from man, not from opinion, not from those who misunderstood your silence, but from heaven's decree. You have made it through the moment that was meant to crush you. You have stood in stillness while war was waged around your name. And now, as the dust settles and the sadness lifts, you are stepping into a realm sealed by divine protection. That sadness you felt on September 8, it was real. It was heavy. It arrived without warning and lingered without logic. But now you understand, it was not random. It was not emotional. It was not coincidence. It was prophetic interruption. It was the announcement of a curse that had been silently spoken over your destiny. And it was heaven's way of waking you up to what had been whispered in hidden corners. But let this be made clear for all eternity. Archangel Michael traced it. He followed the thread of that sorrow through realms you could not see. He walked into the dark places where your name was spoken and shut the mouths of liars with the fire of heaven's sword. He did not come to comfort you alone. He came to war for you. He came to execute judgment on the source of that curse and bring back what was stolen. And now, because you obeyed, because you were still, because you surrendered, you are sealed. You are not just free, you are covered. You are not just restored, you are revived. You are not just protected, you are preserved for purpose. Let your heart rest now. Let your spirit exhale. The war was real, the curse was real, but so was your victory. And this victory did not come by chance. It came by divine decree. You are not here by accident. You are here because heaven had need of you. You are seen. Every tear, every whisper of prayer, every moment you bit your tongue instead of biting back, it was seen. You are chosen. The sadness marked you, but the obedience qualified you. You are unstoppable. The very thing they sent to end you became the wind beneath your rising. You are ascending from this moment, not just healed, but crowned. Let the watchers see it. Let the accusers witness it. Let the heavens declare it. You are the one God rescued in silence, lifted in fire, and covered in glory. Now walk in your anointing. Move in your authority. Speak with boldness. And never again doubt who you are. You are the one the curse couldn't touch. You are the one the sadness couldn't sing. You are the one Archangel Michael was dispatched to protect. You are seen. You are chosen. You are unstoppable. Type "I am unstoppable" in the comments if this final blessing seals what your spirit already knew. Blessing code 7777 is now resting over your destiny. If this message has stirred something eternal in your soul, if it confirmed the battle, traced the source, and revealed your victory, then now is the time to partner with this mission. Not just to support a voice, but to fuel a movement that is exposing curses, breaking silence, and lifting the chosen. When you give, through super thanks, membership, or PayPal, you are sowing into the sound that just shook you free. This is not just generosity. This is alignment. This is you saying, "Let others be delivered too." This is your seed into freedom, not just for yourself, but for every soul this word will reach. Give, and it shall be given unto you, not my words, but His. And His word never returns void. If you feel the urgency, if you feel the oil, move now. There's a PayPal link in the description for those who are stirred to give. When you sow into glory, glory comes back multiplied. Declare it with boldness. Type "I am a kingdom funder" and let heaven record your obedience. Your seed is your warfare. Your support is your sword. Let's advance the kingdom together.